Let's go ahead and discuss the tools and supplies you're going to need. First and foremost, you're going to need muslin. You're going to need enough to be able to drape and prototype, so that'll be up to what design you're going to do. And you're also going to need a good pair of fabric shears. There are lots of really good ones out on the market, and these are my favorite pair to use while draping and also cutting smaller items. You're also going to need pins. You can either use pins like this that are more like quilting pins to help you keep all your fabric together. You're also going to need marking utensils. I have a regular pencil, a mechanical pencil, and an ink pen. You'll be seeing me use these interchangeably throughout the video. You're also going to need a serrated tracing wheel and a pencil sharpener, especially if you have a heavy hand and your point gets really dull really quickly. And you're also going to need a pair of paper scissors for cutting out your paper patterns, because we are going to be creating our own paper patterns in this series. You're also going to need some magic Scotch tape. I usually work off of a dispenser. I highly recommend a dispenser because if you're getting into pattern making, you're going to be using a lot of tape. Another really important tool that you're going to need is the draping tape. This is mine. It is a 1/4 inch wide, and it is going to be used for our dress form before we start draping. You're also going to need pattern paper. You can use dot paper like I have here that you can get online, or if you have some other type of pattern tracing material that you can work with, you can use that. And these are also some important rulers that you're going to need for draping. You're going to need an L ruler. This helps with squaring up your fabric and making sure that everything is nice and square and 90 degrees in all your corners. You're also going to need a hip curve ruler. This helps true any type of curved lines that you will have on your paper pattern. You're also going to need a regular ruler with the 1/8 of an inch indications. You're also going to need a French curve for truing armholes and necklines. And of course, you are going to need a 60-inch tape measure. I like this one because the numbers are really big. And of course, you're going to need your dress form. This is mine. It is by PGM Pro, and it is a size 6. There's a whole debacle on what size you can buy. And when it comes to buying a dress form, you just want to make sure that if it's a professional dress form, you're going to want to make sure that all of the princess seams and lines are indicated on the dress form. As you can see, these are the ones on the front of my form. And you also want to make sure that it has a waist tape. And on this form, you can see that the side seam is clearly indicated here. It's really impossible to miss. And this is the back of my form, and it's sort of the same thing. You have the center seam and then the princess lines on both sides of the back. We have a waist tape, and yes, when it comes to the form, you want to make sure that you're purchasing the best one that you can afford. For more recommendations, please see the blog post. Here I have a trim that I'm going to be using as a bust tape to keep my drape from collapsing while I'm draping. Some people don't use this, but this time around I'm going to be using it. I'm also going to be using this sort of scrap strip of muslin for the same purpose, to keep my drape from collapsing while we're draping around the bust area here. And you're also going to want to make sure that you have lots of pins on hand and pinned to your form, because sometimes draping can get a little hectic if you need the extra reinforcement. Again, check the blog post for more information about forms. Let's go ahead and talk about fabric. I'm going to be using a really fun and easy to work with fabric, which is a 100% cotton print for the outside, and then a coordinating solid for my lining. You can use any fabric that you would like. You can get as casual or as fancy as you'd like. You also want to make sure that you gather any other notions, such as zipper, thread. And another important tool to have, or tools to have, are fabric marking utensils. This is one of my favorites, which is a disappearing ink fabric pen. And if you're working with any kind of zipper, you're going to want to make sure that you have some hook and eyes. Then, of course, you're going to want to make sure that you have your pressing equipment in line. You want a really good iron and to have some hams to be able to shape your seams, darts, and be able to stick in those hard to reach spots and be able to get a nice good press. Now that we've gone over all of the tools, we are ready to go ahead and start draping our design. I will see you in part 3 so we may begin draping our design. Thanks for watching.